introduce our first speaker, Keran McKenzie. Come on down.
Well, ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Welcome to Atlas Camp! Who's excited to be here? Oh, come on, we can do better than that. Who's excited to, well, there's an extra step there. Who's excited to be here? Yeah! Thank you, Keran. Big round of applause for Keran and the entire team for pulling all of this together for us over the last little while. There's been a lot of logistics, a lot of work to get us to this point. So, welcome. I'm Keran McKenzie, Head of Product here at Atlassian for the ecosystem. And if I look around this room, there's a collection of incredible people here. Hi, Remy, how are you? And Daniel Wester down there? Paul from Valiantis? Great to see some amazing people here. And if I think about it, you're all just wonderful parts of our community. But we also have a whole lot of people from Atlassian, engineers, product people, designers, leaders from right across our business. And they're here to spend time with you, to understand what you are working on. And there's one rule we have for Atlassians while we're here at Atlas Camp. We're here to help you. We're here to partner with you and understand what you're doing. So let's take a quick look around this room. You're sitting next to some of the best people in the world at building amazing apps in, on, and around the Atlassian system. And you've told us in the past how important Atlas Camp has been in your journey. A place where you get inspired, a place where you reach out and connect with your community. And we're thrilled to have Atlas Camp back on the radar. Tim tells me it's been a number of years since we've done this, so it's so great to be here. And one of the reasons I'm so excited by that is when we get people like you in a room, things that used to take a day, a week, or a month can be done in moments. Magic can happen. So, quick show of hands. Who is this their first Atlas Camp? All right, good number of hands there. Great to see. Who is it your second Atlas Camp? Oh, slightly less. I'm a little bit worried about asking this next one. Hands up if this is your third or more Atlas Camp. All right, keep those hands up. Everyone else, look around. Take a look. Identify those hands that are waving, because those folks are the no, they're not veterans. Those folks are the legends of our community. They're the people you need to be connecting with, finding out their magic secret sauce. Before we get into business, I want to touch on something that I'm really proud about. I've joined Atlassian about 7 or 8 months ago, and this is one of the things that I'm really proud about joining this company. When Atlassian was very small, the team decided to pledge 1% to charity, to the world around us. 1% of equity, 1% of product, 1% of profit, and 1% of employee time. And not only that, the founders encouraged other people to join them in that mission. And today, Pledge 1% has over 18,000 members globally, giving 1% back into the communities around them, the charities around them, and impacting the world we live in. And I'm thrilled to say that many of you have taken that challenge as well and joined our community, using your success that you build in our ecosystem to give back to the world around you. You know, I love technology, and I can get super excited about technology. But the beauty of communities like this is they're not just built around technology. How many of you went out last night and mingled either with your team or with other teams over a beer, over some sushi, over a pizza? I know Remy did. There was a photo on LinkedIn this morning of him and the full team. It was fantastic. This community is built around this shared belief of each other and a responsibility to this wonderful world. So let's give a big hand to all of these partners who join with us in pledging 1%. Thank you, everyone. And there's one partner I want to call out specifically today, is AppFire. AppFire have sponsored Atlas Camp and allowed us to bring it back, which is super exciting. So a massive thank you to AppFire. And the wonderful thing is AppFire has been one of those Pledge 1% members from the very beginning. Now, I also mentioned Keran and the team earlier on and all the work they did, but they weren't alone in that. You were involved. All representatives of you were involved. So a huge thank you to these 6 incredible people who gave up their time to review speaker submissions, to review content, to review the agenda. By the way, if anything's wrong, blame them. No, don't blame them at all. But thank you for being a part and making sure that the voice of the community was heard in what we're delivering today. So, why are we all here? Well, we're here because our customers love Atlassian. And the reason they love Atlassian is it's incredibly flexible in how they fit it to their specific needs. And the reason for that is you. We've got this incredible community of apps on our marketplace that allow customers to tailor-make their Atlassian solutions to their specific needs. And as they move to the cloud, this creates more and more opportunities. And there's an incredible growth opportunity for you as developers and as partners to plug in and to continue to help our ecosystem to flex to the needs of our customers. One of the things that I take great joy out of, and I just spent a couple of days in Sweden with the 55 team and the Refine team, but I have spent time in Wollongong with Easily Agile and others, understanding how many people do they employ, understanding what their business is doing, creating jobs, creating opportunities, and it's just fantastic. And I have a suspicion that in this room, there may well be people who find a new opportunity and they take that big, bold step out of their current job and create something new. Maybe the next big partner is sitting in this room just waiting to be built. And our customers have now come to rely on these integrated tools. You will hear from our migrations team later on just how crucial apps are in migrating our customers from server to cloud. And it shows us just how critical these tools have become to the business of our customers. And you know what? Developers, you make this possible. Our mission at Atlas Camp is Mission Accelerate. Accelerate you. Accelerate those tools for our customers. Accelerate the efficiency in their business. Accelerating you. We want you to move faster, optimize, to lean in and be adaptable to what's coming next. And to do that, there's 4 key pillars that we're going to talk to you about. Cloud transformation, our power platform, tech innovation, and Mahir will love this, marketplace growth. Yay! Each of these represents opportunity. Opportunities for you to discover strengths and areas for you to lean in and be a part of. There's growing demand for the cloud apps. We need more of these apps that are integrated and simple to use. There's new capabilities, and Tim's going to talk very shortly about some of the new capabilities coming in our platform. There's advances in AI everywhere, including CEO changes, that shake up those headlines every day. And there's new ways for you to reach your customers. There's new ways for your business to thrive in this ecosystem. So on that note, let me introduce Grace, our wonderful head of design, to talk about more of our cloud journey.
Thanks, Keran, and hi, everyone. So let's start with the forces that are shaping our business and your businesses more broadly. The defining transformation of the last few years for Atlassian has been the shift from on-prem to our cloud business. And we believe cloud is the inevitable direction that all businesses are moving in. And so we're investing in cloud because it enables us to keep up with the rapid pace of change that we're seeing in our industry and deliver a better experience for our customers. Updates and security patches automatically installed, more rapid innovation, and a seamless experience across the platform. So today I'm going to talk to you about 3 key topics. Firstly, the trends that we're currently seeing in cloud adoption. Then I'm going to talk about the lessons learned that we've learned from data center and our cloud migrations. And finally, I'm going to talk about how customers' buying decisions are changing in the cloud that are affecting our business decisions. So let's start with number 1, the current trends that we're seeing. The move to cloud is happening across the market. And Accenture recently released a report that found a surge in cloud commitment over the past 2 years. More than 86% of companies report increasing the scope and volume of their cloud initiatives. And Atlassian's business follows where our customers go. And just like we see at the macro level, our own customers are always optimizing and always evolving. In fact, 51% say that they're going to undergo a major org-wide transformation in the next year. At the enterprise level, every gain in efficiency translates to a huge cost savings for the business and frees up teams to innovate. So for our customers, cloud represents less complexity and more time spent doing more work that matters. We're constantly making improvements to cloud that let our customers operate smarter at scale. Features like AI, analytics, and our data lake ensure that customers can understand their business, conserve effort, and make the right decisions. So that's why we're on this journey. Next, I want to talk about the momentum that we're seeing. In FY23 alone, millions of Atlassian users migrated from our server and data center products into the cloud. Those customers now get a platform that scales, integrates with essential tools, and essentially creates an operating system for work. In a recent large-scale survey, 82% of migrated users said that they saw tangible benefits from Atlassian Cloud within the first 6 months of the transition to that platform. And amidst the pressures that organizations are facing in today's climate, Atlassian Cloud is really helping our customers forge that strong digital core they need to connect teams and speed up work. The flexibility and customizability of Atlassian's on-prem products have been a major factor in Atlassian's success over the last 20 years, and that's probably not new information to anyone sitting in this room. As our customers transition to cloud, they really expect to retain that. Apps are so mission critical that the ability to bring apps along to cloud is often a non-negotiable for our customers. They're that important. Since the creation of our automated app migration platform, we've helped thousands of customers migrate their app licenses to cloud. The size of the customers that are coming across to cloud is now increasing rapidly, and it's only just beginning. We're entering a phase of large-scale enterprise migrations. And while it's slower to get one customer across into that cloud environment, the opportunity is far greater per customer. We now have enough data on the first cohorts of migrated customers that we can start to observe some of the interesting changes in how our customers operate. What we see is that right after migrations, there's a bit of a dip in app ownership. But 2 years post-migration, cloud customers have more apps installed compared to when they were on-prem. So post-migration, what we're seeing is that almost 1 in 4 customers ended up owning 5 or more apps, which is a 25% increase compared to when they were on-prem. Now, of course, not all customers are going to go to cloud right now. And so for customers who aren't ready for cloud, yes, data center is definitely a key stepping stone. But brick by brick, cloud is becoming more and more suited to the needs of even the most regulated enterprise customers. And we're accelerating our investments in programs like FedRAMP Moderate to raise the bar. And we're seeing this reflected in the numbers. So data center customers now account for approximately 50% of migrations in cloud. The data center side of the business is also a really key source of learnings about enterprise needs, because our data center customers represent some of the largest and most complex enterprise customers in the world. The apps that were important to data center customers, solving large enterprise-grade problems, continue to be critical to these customers when they move into cloud, because they're the same large enterprise customers. And they have unique complexities in on-prem, but there's additional unique complexities and challenges that come along with the move to cloud for those customers. So this brings me to my final point about customer purchasing decisions in cloud. So how do our customers decide what apps to buy and what apps to retain? For one, the usability, the functionality of the app continues to be absolutely critically important. But in cloud, a number of other factors determine whether a customer will actually adopt it. So your app's architecture and operating processes, your privacy and security practices, compliance, data protection, and enterprise support all become more important in cloud. And we know that our most savvy cloud customers are assessing your business as much as they are your app when they're making those purchasing decisions. And that's why cloud customers are increasingly educated about cloud app security. And this means that cloud apps are a key purchasing decision in a way that they weren't when our customers maintained their own hosting environments. So what we see is that as customers undertake a migration, they need to understand how apps interact with their data. This means assessments, app assessments, and sometimes lots and lots of assessments, 1 per app. Some of our customers have up to 70 apps. And so these can be quite thorough, but also when a customer looks at the complexity of the apps in their environment, they find it incredibly difficult. And customers may end up walking away without ever reaching out to their app vendors or partners, just because they don't feel it's worth the effort to review all the apps. And we know these assessments can also be incredibly burdensome from our partners' perspective. So the more that we can fast track the app vetting process, the better it will be for our partners and our customers. Oh, I forgot to click through. Sorry about that. Despite the short-term challenges that come with transformation, the innovation that we're seeing in cloud has immense potential for all of us. We all know that the number of SaaS applications has exploded in recent years, and we view that as a really good thing for our customers and for everyone. Customers have access to world-class applications and cloud infrastructure at a reduced cost. And the Atlassian platform is able to connect with hundreds of deep third-party integrations. And this connectedness gives our customers the ability to share data across different tools without breaking their flow. This foundational approach to extensibility is one of the core strengths of our platform and is one of the reasons customers continue to choose Atlassian. Our strategy as a company is to provide an excellent core experience in cloud with customization options for customers so that they can make our products really precisely and accurately fit their individual needs. And we see a huge opportunity for developers building cloud apps. Cloud is powering Atlassian's next wave of growth, and we're excited to see cloud power the next wave of growth for all of you at the same time. The usability of cloud apps is absolutely key, and as you'll hear in a moment, we're working to provide developers with new and better tools to build the app features that your customers need. But cloud, as I said before, also comes with high expectations for security, data privacy, and compliance. So it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that we're really excited to tackle together. Next, we're going to talk about some of the work that still remains in this space and look at some of the opportunities that are happening in the marketplace. So I'm going to hand back over to Keran, and he can talk about the next section.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
I think that might be Tim's one. I'm going to get the one that's not open. Alrighty. 3 billion. Any idea what that number represents? You can call it out. Amount of snowfall outside, snowflakes maybe. Michael Jordan's bank account, if you listen to Forbes magazine. Marketplace revenue, thank you. There's a winner. This is actually lifetime sales, $3 billion, more than $3 billion in lifetime sales. Oh, come on, you should be excited about that. That's your sales. That's yours, not ours. You have done that through our marketplace. But it gets better than that. Look at this. That last billion, we did that 32% faster than the one before. And look at the growth in that graph. It tells us how critical apps are to our customers. We just heard Grace talk about the number of partners, or the number of new apps, 25% more apps in the cloud than they had on server. And if you're not on Marketplace, you're missing out. So with that perspective, there's 3 areas I'd love to highlight. And the first one, I'm really excited to break this news to you. Actually, it might be kind of fitting I'm wearing a Santa hat for this one. Because, you've told me, and Mbala, and Mahir, and the rest of us, over and over again, you want new opportunities to create the next generation of apps and the next generation of business. You've asked us to keep expanding the platform and create new surface areas. Well, today I'm pleased to announce that Compass is in GA. Compass is a phenomenal tool for platform and engineering teams and is already being used across companies like ExpressVPN, Bowden, and KFC, of all places. And do you know the great news? Compass was built to be compatible with Forge from day one. So I'm thrilled to announce that you will soon be able to sell and distribute your apps on Marketplace. Oh, come on, okay. I know. Yes, Keran, soon. Is that Atlassian soon? Okay, stop that, Keran, that's not good. Q1 next year, that's only a few short weeks away, you'll be able to list free Compass apps on the marketplace. And before the middle of the year, and Mihir, wave Mihir, is the man to make this happen, before the middle of the year, you'll be able to put paid apps on marketplace. Now that is awesome, right? That's new surface areas, new opportunities, new businesses, new places for you to help us get the next $1 billion. Okay, so that's Compass. Well, I've still got the Santa hat on, so let's do some more. How about making it easier for people to discover your apps? I mean, you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and time, and effort, and resources into building the apps. We really want customers to use them, right? No, okay, fine. See ya, I'm off. Come on, you want people to use them, right? Yes, we do. So, we've got over 5,500 apps on our marketplace. Have you been a customer trying to search through 5,500 things to find the right one that fits you at the right time? So how about we introduce Smart Search? We reimagine the search on marketplace. How about we use AI as a way to lift that burden and make it simpler for people to find your apps when they need them? And we'll do this by allowing customers to search using natural language. We'll also offer improved AI-based query suggestions to really help walk them through that discoverability. We'll introduce new, smarter ranking systems to ensure that the most relevant results are published at the right time. Better search is a big win for our customers and you. When a customer has that unique problem to solve, they want to find the app, and we want to make it as quick, easy, and as efficient as possible for them to find your app to solve that problem. And we're going to roll those out when, Mihir? Early in 2024. Yeah, there we go. Give him another one. Good one. All right. Well, there's one more question mark up there. I don't know if I want to talk about this one. Everyone says, Keran, can we talk to you about staff picks? Who loves staff picks? Right, okay. So we're going to update staff picks. Yay. I'll tell you what. How about we get rid of staff picks altogether? Gone. Take it away. Throw it away. Let's replace it with 3 ways of discovering apps. We're going to introduce Spotlight, the ability to spotlight and highlight specific apps for different reasons at different times. We're going to highlight the best sellers in different categories. And the one I'm really excited about, we're going to have a way to identify rising stars. If you hadn't figured out, I love innovation. I love growth. I love hearing what the next generation of people are doing on our platform. And Rising Stars is a way to give them a leg up and an opportunity to play on the same level as everybody else. And so we're introducing algorithms across all 3 of these categories to make it fair for people to be able to play in these different things, to align the needs to the customer and that certain collections criteria. And all apps have a shot of being featured in here. You don't have to apply like you do for staff picks. There's no manual considerations. All apps get to play. And I'm really excited. Again, this is coming in the coming months and will make a massive difference to Marketplace. Alrighty. So we've talked about the opportunity and we've talked about Marketplace. But, you know, we're in the home of Lego, so you kind of need some bits to play with, don't you? How about I get Tim up on stage to talk about the bits and pieces of our Power Platform that allow you to build the next generation?
Oh, thank you, Keran. Oh, hello, Atlas Camp. Oh, it is so great to be back with all of you again. Can you believe it's been 4 years since Atlas Camp 2019? 4 years since we had the Forge hands-on labs and kind of announced Forge for the first time. Did anyone play with Forge during Atlas Camp 2019? We had that like cobbled together pre-alpha demo. Oh, amazing. You are awesome. It's folks like you that have helped us get Forge to where it is today. So, Forge has been a huge journey for Atlassian. And I'm sure it's been a huge journey for many of you in this audience, just like it has for myself. I didn't have this much gray hair at Atlas Camp 2019, and I'm sure some of our early adopters of Forge have a few Forge-related gray hairs as well. So Forge has meant shifting Atlassian's DNA. We were always an awesome product company, and we've always had APIs. But now, we're building and operating a hosted developer platform in the cloud. And there are very few product companies out there that have hosted platforms for their ecosystem, and even fewer that have the lofty security and data privacy goals that we have for Forge. So it's great to be back here with you all, and I'm super proud of how far Forge has come since our last Atlas Camp. But as I walk through all of the awesome stuff that Forge is capable of today, and some stuff that is coming, I want you to remember that Forge wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you, and all of the support and feedback that we've had from our awesome partners, building apps, listing them on the marketplace, and getting that real-world feedback on how we improve our platform. So thank you all very much. In fact, give yourselves a hand. Now, as Grace just outlined, customer needs in cloud are complex, and they're getting even more complex over time. Atlassian's partners, you all, are tasked with building apps that have the same functionality that enterprises need in server, in cloud, with additional requirements when it comes for trust and performance and scale. And we're continuing to invest in Forge to help all of you meet those needs. When it comes to enterprises, data privacy is key. As regulations continue to evolve, customers are increasingly looking to keep data in a region that they trust. And so one of the key areas we've been investing in is Forge storage. We're currently on track to release Forge Data Residency in March next year. So today, Atlassian products have data resident regions in the US and Canada, the EU, and a separate region for Germany, Singapore, and Australia. And as Forge Data Residency is rolled out, any data that is stored in Forge-hosted storage will automatically be pinned to the same region as the customer product data is. And then, when a customer requests a migration to another region, that data in Forge storage will be migrated along with that product data. Now, Atlassian has a bunch of regions today. We also have 5 new regions planned just in the next year. We'll be rolling out new data centers in Brazil, India, Japan, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. And those are all just in the next 12 months. Now, what's really exciting is we'll be rolling out Forge support at exactly the same time as the products do. So any data hosted in Forge storage will be automatically pinned and inherit the data residency requirements of the parent products. And we're hoping that this significantly lightens the load of meeting some of these tough enterprise requirements for you all. Alongside data residency, we've also been working on making Forge storage much more flexible. With custom entities and complex queries, Forge data storage just took a huge leap. You can now define your own data structures, and you can search for stored data using fine-grained queries. Now, these capabilities are currently in preview and will be in general availability by the end of the year. Now, I'm going to be mentioning preview features a few times today. Now, preview is almost identical to general availability. It's in production, you can use them in apps, you can sell them on Marketplace. The only difference is preview features have a 1-month deprecation period instead of 6 months, in case we need to make some more fine changes before we declare it as GA. But despite being in preview, there are already over 100 apps using custom entities and over a dozen of them on Marketplace today. So thank you again to our early adopters, helping us make these features work well for the broader ecosystem. But it's not just Forge and storage that's been getting more flexible. After CodeGeist this year, we had a ton of feedback from partners like iZymes, or Sean from iZymes rather, who are re-engaging for the first time in a few years. And because Forge has always been secure, the developer experience has not always been as great as it is today. And so it's awesome to see CodeGeist pulling back some partners who maybe tried Forge in the early days, weren't super impressed. But we've made a few breakthroughs recently. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the massive changes that have happened to Forge just in the last 12 months. One area we've made a huge breakthrough in is the Forge runtime. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware that Forge is powered by Amazon Lambda under the hood. But part of Forge's special sauce is actually a custom layer that sits on top of Lambda, built on top of a V8 technology called isolates. Now, an isolate is a security sandbox. It's actually the same one that Chrome uses in the browser to sandbox iframes. So you have like completely individual JavaScript contexts. Now, an isolate is a great sandbox from a security perspective. One of the drawbacks of an isolate is it's just a blank runtime. There are no standard libraries, and there are no standard language features like you see in Node.js. And so to get around this, we actually implement a set of polyfills that mimic the Node 14 APIs. And to be candid, they're not great. There are some Node.js libraries that are missing entirely. Some of them don't work quite how you expect. And we also emulate the file system inside of our first runtime, which means that you don't have an amazing set of features. And it also leads to some incompatibilities with things like popular NPM libraries, and again, just makes the developer experience not as fantastic as it could be. Now, isolates also introduced some performance issues. So we used another technique called snapshotting to work around that. Now that dramatically improved performance, but it also made Forge programming a little bit more counterintuitive than it could otherwise be. So, while our isolate runtime has served us well, and many of you have shipped some great apps on top of it, we've had to make a ton of trade-offs that have impacted the developer experience. So we're going to throw it out. I'm thrilled to share that our new runtime v2 is now in developer preview. We've completely re-architected our function invocation system and shifted authentication and data regress, which is one of the principal things that we'd use polyfilling for, entirely out of the Lambda and into a gateway proxy that sits between Forge and the internet. So this actually means we can scrap our custom isolate-based runtime entirely and use plain old Node.js with a couple of libraries to implement the developer experience. Never seen so many people happy to delete some code. So now when you run a Forge function, you use real Node libraries running against a real file system. And if your favorite NPM libraries work in Amazon Lambda, they'll likely work in Forge as well. And using raw Node.js also improves performance, with latency reduced for many functions by 30 to 40%. This has been a huge technical undertaking for the Forge compute team. And I'd especially like to thank Christian from Binary and all of our other EAP participants who helped us ship one of the most important iterations we've had to the Forge platform to date. We already have over 30 apps using the new runtime in production. And if you haven't updated, it's literally just a one-line change in your manifest for most apps. Please give it a shot and see what performance improvements you come across with your own. So, Christian, you mentioned latency between Europe and the US. Well, I have some great news for you and everyone else using the new runtime. As we roll out data residency for Forge storage, we're also going to be deploying Forge functions into every region that Atlassian supports with data residency. So we anticipate this will dramatically improve cross-region latency latency. Well, in fact, there'll be a lot less cross-region requests for all function types, for all users of Forge apps, and all developers building Forge apps. And we'll continue to improve this over time as Atlassian rolls out more data-resident regions. But that's not all. Alongside the new runtime, we've also quietly doubled the size of the lambdas that Forge functions are deployed into. Now you have 0.5 gig of RAM and twice the virtual CPU that you had previously. Also, now that the file system is no longer in memory, you can actually use a lot more of that RAM when you write your apps. We've also increased the timeout for async tasks. So those are our processor queues. Hey. From 25 seconds to 55 seconds. We do have some tentative plans to push that even further over time. But we're hoping this will help you, give you a little bit more time to perform those data-intensive operations in async tasks. Because we realize how critical performance and flexibility is when it comes to running a platform. Another area we've been hard at work on is improving how Forge interacts with remote services. Today, Forge apps, or Forge functions, can be bound to a variety of different product events and UI modules in our products. And one of the unique value propositions of Forge is that by default, a Forge function is sandboxed, so it can only access data that belongs to the customer that invoked the function. And when you make a request to the product APIs, it's automatically tenantly isolated to the specific customer that ran the app. Now, we also recognize that many Forge apps do need to make requests out to external APIs. AI is a great use case. You're probably not going to be running inferencing or large language models on a Lambda anytime soon. So, today, Forge supports the concept of remotes. This is basically a single URL or a pattern or set of URL patterns you can define that allows your app to break out of the sandbox and make requests to external services. Now, this approach has worked pretty well for simple use cases, but because all data has to be routed via functions, it can be difficult to achieve certain use cases, and it's pretty inefficient. So we've been thinking about how we can better integrate remote compute components into Forge. Kind of treat remotes as a bit of a first-class citizen within our compute model. And this has been a really difficult design challenge, because remote services fundamentally mean sharing customer data outside of the Atlassian cloud. And we wanted to ensure that Forge maintains a high bar for security and trust, even when remote compute is used. And I'm really pleased with what the team has come up with, as we've recently shipped the first few milestones of what we call Forge Remote. Now, Forge apps can specify remote URLs to consume Forge events directly via webhooks without having to go via the function. They can also define remote URLs, which will serve as the backend for custom UI iframe-based experiences. And these remote services can also call Atlassian product APIs and read and write from Forge storage directly, again, without having to go via the FAS or use one of the slightly hacky workarounds like a web trigger. So remote compute components are now much easier to use with Forge. Now I can see a few skeptical faces in the audience. Wait a minute, iframes? Talking to remote services? Product events as webhooks? That sounds strangely familiar. Did Tim just say that Atlassian reinvented Connect? Oh, shit. So thankfully, the answer is no. For those of you who've built a Connect app before, you'll know the first thing that happens when a customer installs your app is that we send you a webhook with a few details about the customer instance and a symmetric, powerful shared secret. Then, you should be encrypting that secret. Hold up your hand if you're not encrypting your shared secret. And storing that in a database. Then, you use that secret to authenticate requests from Atlassian to your app, and requests from your app to Atlassian. So this works, but that secret is extremely powerful. And ensuring that it's stored securely and used correctly is a heavy burden that we pass on to Connect developers today. Implementation mistakes relating to this secret actually are the second largest driver of security vulnerabilities that we see via our bug bounty program. So we've never really been happy with this level of power that we emit when it comes to secrets. So with Forge Remote, we've actually managed to eliminate the shared secret and built a much safer way to handle bidirectional authentication between apps and Atlassian services. And we've built this on the Internet Engineering Task Force's popular JSON Web Key Set standard, or JWKS, which I like to call Jukes. So if you've declared a remote component for your Forge app, you actually no longer need a secret credential at all. When we send a request to your service, we send you a JSON Web Token, or JWT, and in that payload. And then you can verify that against a public Jukes endpoint that we serve. Now, like JWT, Jukes, being an IATF standard, has great library support across a wide variety of languages. If you look at Java or Node, it's literally a couple of lines using a well-supported library. So it's relatively straightforward for anyone to implement a Forge Remote compatible component. Now, if your service needs to call back into Forge storage or into the product APIs, you can request an additional token scope in your app manifest. And we'll send you a short-lived bearer token in that same payload that you can use to authenticate with Atlassian services. And that bearer token is also sandboxed to only have access to the customer data associated with that request. And similarly, it'll only work with the APIs for that particular customer tenant. So even with remote compute, we still have a really strong tenant isolation story. It also means that authentication is now inherently stateless. So this means you no longer need to store a shared secret or any customer details if you don't want to. And this means with the ability to call Forge storage directly, we anticipate that many app developers will no longer need an external database at all. Or at least we're hoping that will be the case over time as we continue to evolve Forge storage to have more powerful storage primitives. So I'm very pleased to share that just this week, Forge Remote has now graduated from early access into developer preview. So as of this week, you can start using Forge Remote components in Forge apps and distribute and sell them on the Atlassian marketplace. Thank you, Remy. I was about to say, just like all of these projects, Forge Remote could not have been possible without early feedback from Remy and all sorts of partners that engaged on RFC 8. Remy actually gave us a whole bunch of constructive feedback as well, but I couldn't resist using this particular quote. And the team have been working really hard at getting this out for you for Atlas Camp. And creating a remote compute solution that was secure and flexible has been a really challenging design problem for us. So I'm thrilled that it's been so popular amongst developers who've started with Forge and also existing developers who've invested heavily in remote services with Connect previously. On a final note, I also have some other very exciting news to share. Now at Atlassian, we're big believers in the power of platform, and not just for our ecosystem. It's also how we build Atlassian's cloud products. If you look at Jira, or Confluence, or Compass, or Atlas, or Bitbucket, they all have a shared set of services for identity, and commerce, and storage, and permissions, and a variety of other components as well. So Forge, as Keran mentioned, was designed from day one as a component of this platform, which is how we've managed to roll it out to Jira, and Confluence, Jira Service Management, and Compass. But our long-term strategy is for Forge to become the platform for extensibility for all Atlassian cloud products. And today, we have a very exciting new member of the Forge family. You can now build Forge apps for Bitbucket. Now, I'm particularly excited about Bitbucket because alongside Compass, they're aiming to empower Atlassian customers to build their own internal developer experience platforms. Developer productivity and efficiency are hot topics amongst engineering teams today. The solution 3 years ago was hire all the engineers you can. Now it's make those engineers more efficient. And extensibility is going to be a key part of how Compass and Bitbucket make Atlassian software teams more efficient. And it's also going to be a huge part of the value proposition in their front-of-face marketing going forward as well. Now, Bitbucket have a hugely exciting roadmap planned. I highly recommend grabbing some time with some of the Bitbucket team members who are here. Today, Forge on Bitbucket is in early access, but they're aiming to launch general availability in January next year. We're also launching the first set of exciting Bitbucket modules at Atlas Camp. Merge checks is the first one coming off the rank. Merge checks let you build Forge functions that control pull request workflow. Now, this is a hugely popular extension point in Bitbucket Server and Data Center. I can't wait to see what sort of crazy workflow augmentation you come up with. Early next year, the team are also planning to launch something even more exciting. It's a feature called dynamic pipelines. So, do we have any Bitbucket pipelines users in the audience? Okay, fantastic. Oh, wow, okay, good number of hands. Well, for those of you who haven't tried it, it's basically Bitbucket pipelines built-in CI/CD solution. Now, what dynamic pipelines is, today, pipelines are configured statically via a manifest that sits inside of your repository. Dynamic pipelines are actually going to let you use Forge functions to generate pipeline configuration dynamically at runtime. Now, for those of you interested in DevOps, I already see your little eyes lighting up with all of the interesting opportunities that this brings, not just for your own internal teams, but also marketplace opportunities for shipping components of this new developer experience platform. So again, I can't wait to see what awesome stuff you come up with these new extension points. So that's a lot. So let's just do a quick recap. The Forge team have been really busy. We've been overhauling nearly every part of the Forge platform. Today we touched on storage, and compute, and remotes. We've been doing all sorts of other stuff as well. If you log into the developer console, you will have seen you can now search and filter based on logs. You can also export metrics, so you can use your favorite best-of-breed tools for your operational toolchain. We've also finally killed that stupid consent screen. Thank you for bearing with us on that one. So Forge has really matured as a platform. A year ago, we were looking at a pretty big to-do list of highly requested features. And today, Forge looks very different. We're also setting our sights on major investments going forward. I'm thrilled to see enterprise-grade features like data residency becoming available by default to all users of Forge. Speaking of what's next, progress doesn't stop. We're innovating heavily, and we see innovation everywhere in the marketplace and in our developer community. So I'm going to hand back to Keran to tell you a little bit more about tech innovation.
Thank you, my friends. How exciting is that to see the journey that the team have been on building out on Forge, and I am so proud of all the teams and all the work that's been done. All right, now my previous role, I actually was a futurist in residence. For those of you who want to wonder, that's someone who just gets paid to look at tomorrow. It's kind of a weird role. But I get to see us out today thinking about what's coming next, what's around the corner. We're going to look across 3 areas: cloud, marketplace, and developer platform. And actually, we've already touched on a lot of these things today. Atlassian has invested heavily in the cloud. We made a big bet that this was going to be the place where we can see growth across our products. And there's been some amazing, huge leaps in the company. From Atlassian Intelligence, announced in April, right through to Atlassian Analytics. You know, and our customers are seeing the benefits, and Grace drew on this, of what the customers are seeing in the way that they can be more efficient in our products. And this creates huge opportunity for you. And as you've just seen, we're pushing these teams to say, hey, as you're thinking of these things, think about Forge, think about extensibility. What is this wonderful community going to bring in innovation in, on, and around these features? We've touched on the marketplace team and innovation across that. And what it means to make it simpler to discover your apps, to bring AI to play, to make it intelligent and intuitive ways to discover your apps, to allow that better connection between customers and the tools that solve their problems. And Tim's just taken us through a massive amount of innovation that's happened in and on our platform. And I'm super excited. That beautiful list of green dots of all the things that have been done. I know behind the scenes there's another one of what's coming next. I can't wait for a year from now where we're showing the next generation of what's come out in the previous 12 months. With data resonating around the corner, support for Bitbucket, Forge Remote. Now's your time to capitalize on Forge. Now's your time to capitalize on the opportunity. And I hope that here at Atlas Camp, you will use this chance to accelerate your thinking in, on, and around that platform. But like I touched on, I love looking out and into what's coming next. I love thinking about how everything from, well, it used to be Google Glass, now it's Apple's big blimmin' ski mask, really. What that might mean in a Jira world. What does AI really mean? IoT. I can see huge opportunity for all sorts of IoT tools on top of JSM assets. It's incredible what people can do. And just recently, I got a little glimpse of what you can do on our platform. How many of you participated in CodeGeist's AI hackathon? Come on, there's got to be a few of you. Okay, yes, great, fantastic. I didn't think you were allowed to, sir. Cheeky hand at the front there. And we got to see some of what you can do with the emergence of AI today. And I want to highlight just one of the apps that came through. Go Mood by Leo and the team from Dyser. Fantastic work here. This team, it came in first in the data-driven insights category, which is worth a round of applause. Well done, Leo and team. Go Mood is a tool that brings sentiment analysis to Jira issues. It allows smarter, more efficient routing of those based on not just the actual issue coming through, but the sentiment and the meaning and the feeling behind that issue. It's a super solution. And Leo and the team actually published a really great blog post, and he's got it on LinkedIn, go and find it, about the path that they went through and how they pivoted partway through, but it highlights just how fast they were able to iterate on an idea on top of our Forge platform. So I'm really proud of what they've done, and it's already available on Marketplace, so go and check it out. As I've said, this is a huge opportunity in front of us. You've built an amazing community over the past handful of years in and around our products. But that's just the beginning. I really want you to make the most of this incredible opportunity that's in front of you. And you couldn't be in a better place than right here, right now, connected with each other, connected with our incredible Atlassians to make sure that you walk out of here with those sparks, that knowledge, the next piece of the puzzle that you need. This conference is about accelerating your success. There's some really great sessions coming up. A couple I think that are on my radar. Colin, our head of engineering, is doing a talk in here tomorrow about how you embrace that enterprise scale and what our enterprise customers are looking for as they're evaluating and thinking and working through the apps that they need. And talking about that, where's Mr. Matt Chapman? I can't see way up the back there somewhere. Mr. Chapman's going to be talking about migration of apps. As we move more of our customers from server to the cloud, what's needed? How are they evaluating? And how can we support you in making sure that customers can move your apps from server to cloud? It's going to be an awesome handful of days. A little bit chilly and cold if we go outside, but it's going to be an awesome couple of days. I'm super excited. I'm hugely thankful for all of you making the time and effort to come and travel up here. Go and enjoy Atlas Camp 2023.